Welcome to another Great Cow Basic training session. This is training session 8, and we're going to be using some software to control program logic to make some LEDs rotate. Rotate means flash. This is going to be using select case and everything we've done before. So we're building upon what we've been doing in the past. Hi, this is I'm sitting in the lab here. So what have we done so far? We've done 1 through 7, now we're on 8, which is making these LEDs rotate based upon the value of the ADC. And we've got a pick connected to a pick kit too. We've covered that in the past. Oh, yeah, got to put my hat on. And we're using a predit chip, which I'll show you in a moment, with 8 legs. Okay. We're not generating sine waves after this session. We might come back to it, but I'm not going to do it today. So we built up a little thing that looks like this PCB here. I'm using exactly the same one. And we're going to make the LEDs rotate using a switch command initially, point number 2. And then we're going to make the LEDs rotate using the same switch command, but we're going to base it upon the value of the ADCs in terms of what they're doing. Okay, and this is the switch we're looking at today. So let's have a look at the lab here. So what we've got it exactly where we left it yesterday. We've got exactly the same board. Do I need the scope anymore? I don't think so. We're going to take the scope away from here now because we don't need it for a little while. We'll just unplug those sensors and just move that away. Let me reassure you this is live. Okay, all right. So what we've got is some LEDs here. They're attached and they're on the PowerPoint. These are the green, yellow, and red and blue LEDs we've seen before. And let me just sort that color out. There we go. I have no idea why the camera does that. So what we're going to do is make those LEDs rotate. Hopefully we'll be able to see them. Let me just push that up a little bit so you can just see it a bit better. Oh, well, I don't know why that's playing Dead Man, that one. A bit distasteful, that. So what we're going to do is go straight into SynWrite and get cracking. Okay, so we've got some code here. This is the code from the other day, and we're going to take the code and we sort of base it upon it. So why don't we just take everything from here to the top, which is therefore this code here, and it's basically specifying the chip. Now the chip, whilst we're here, it specifies the frequency by default. Okay, and we discussed that. This is defined in variables, and we're going to leave this out. I don't think we're going to need the PPS stuff today because we might come back to it. Then we've got these LEDs and all these constants we've had defined before. But what I'm going to do is bring in a little truth table I've written, and this little truth table will help us just understand what we're going to be doing. So in recap, we've got some LEDs and they're defined on bits, and they're called RA1 to RA5. They're actually sitting on a port that's called ladder A, and to be quite frank, their real name, the real name that we've been using and a name that you can use is RA5, and we've been calling them RA4. Is that right? RA4. The switch is on RA3. That LED is on RA2, and that LED is on RA1. And essentially, we've given them those names because that's what's on the data sheet. That's what Microchip have done for us. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the LEDs rotate in this truth table. So we're going to make this LED, this LED, this LED, and that LED rotate based upon a state table that's in here. Okay, and it's quite simple. If I just highlight number 1, you can see that this one here is going to come on, followed by that one, followed by that one, followed by that one. Now, unfortunately, because these aren't consecutive bits, I can't show you something very clever, which is called rotate bit. So we're going to do it using switch. If these were together, we could do some really clever stuff, but we're going to have to do it the way we've got it. Okay, so what we're going to do is just rotate those LEDs. So let's go back to the camera 1 second. Oops, so where's the camera? In here. There we go, there's the camera. What we're going to do is just rotate those into rotate those 4 LEDs into here. So I'm just going to take some code I've got prepared and I'm going to paste it in and then explain it. Okay, this is my code. My code for today is extremely simple. We're going to declare a byte, and that byte is called LED state, and we're going to set it to 0. And then we're going to have 4 states. State 1, that's called case 1, case 2, case 3, and case 4. And depending upon which the value of this variable called LED state, because we're doing a select case that state, so select case of a particular value, that's a byte value called LED state, and I can say to it, if it's case 1, do something, case 2, case 3, and case 4. And so for each case, I've actually entered in the truth table. As you can see, there's an LED set to 1 here, and the rest is 0. Number 2 is set to 1 here, and the rest is 0. Number 3 is set to 1, and the rest is 0. And number 4 is set to 1 and the rest is 0. And what I'm doing in here is I'm also then setting the LED states, and the next time it comes through, because we've always got this loop called do forever loop, we can we're incrementing through. So the first time through it's case 0, and then we set it to LED state 1. The next time it loops around, it's going to be case 1. Then we add it, make that 2. The next time through, it's going to be called case 2. We make that 3. And when it's case 3, we set it back to 0. So the next time through, it goes to 0. So if we just program that up, okay, let's just program. Oh, we don't need that one, do we? We want this one. We're going to program that up. I'll be able to save it. Save it as, I truly haven't even tested this code. Okay, so this is going to be quite good. Training 8. And then I'm going to compile it. And then it's going to, oh, it's done it. Very good. All happy. I can see the LEDs are flashing. You can barely see the yellow, which is unfortunate. Never mind. Let me just zoom in on my lab then, see if we can see it any better in here. Yeah, I get a bit of a problem with the old camera here sometimes. And if someone could let me know why it does this, I'd be very grateful. There we go. Don't know why it does that. So look, we can see that the LED is going green and it's rotating through. Great. Now in my code, I also put a switch that says if I hold the switch down, it will stop. I'm going to show you that code in a moment. So we've got a case 0, case 1, case 2, case 3. And if we look back at the code now, we can see in here, I actually put in at the bottom a little wait of 500 milliseconds, and I put in a wait while switch equals 0. So if that switch goes to ground, I stop it. That's it. Really simple. Hey, let's save this program. Let's save it as B. Really simple, because what we're now going to do is just change those cases. Okay. Now, before we had an ADC value, we're going to read the ADC. So ADC value, I'm going to declare a new variable. Okay. There's also a byte. Notice I can put the same types of variables on the same line. Then I'm going to read that value into the ADC. We've seen this before. Read AD, and it needs to know which port it's on. Well, that's on ANA 0. We've seen this before. Now this time, the value of this case is going to be different because we're going to take it off of ADC value. And now all these are invalid because we know that the value returned from AD, the read AD, is somewhere between 0 and 255. So I'm going to put in here case, and this is what I'm showing you. We could put it in 64 blocks of 64. So I can say case 0 to 63. I'm going to go 64 to 127. Case 128 to 191. Yeah. I could put the other case there, but I'm going to go 192 to 255. And then we don't need this LED state anymore because we're going to read it directly from there. We actually don't need any of that anymore, because what we're going to do is read the port, read that in, and then we're going to cycle through depending upon what the value of our pot is. Okay, and here we go. Let's compile that. The yellow LED is on. Bring the screwdriver in. The blue went on. Red's on as I rotate it through, back to the yellow, back to the green. Brilliant. It's done exactly what we wanted. What we're going to do next time is develop this even further, because we've actually looked at select case. So this case is somewhere between 0 and 64. This is somewhere between 64 and 127, 128 and 191, and finally 192 to 255. So we've got 4 states for a variable number, which is great. So let's have a quick look at what we wanted to do. We wanted to make the states rotate using the switch command based on the value of the ADC, which is what we've done. So if I look at how we're doing for time, fine. We're going to go back to this training session here. Great. Tomorrow we're going to be using reverse the direction of the LEDs using the switch. So what we're going to be doing is rotating those on a delay as well. And we're going to rotate those LEDs, and we're going to switch to reverse them, and then we'll use it using an interrupt. So we're developing this little 4 LED model quite rapidly. And with that, we'll call it a wrap.